morning. Welcome to Senior Moments. Today we're talking to Nicole Tucker from American Legion Ambulance Service. Hello, Nicole.
Hello. Thank you for having me. It's good to be here this morning.
Oh, it's really great to see you. You know, as we talked a little earlier, I used to keep up with you guys going to the Commission on Aging in Amador County, but I haven't done that in probably 18 months, so
Yeah.
I am out of date.
I haven't been to a Commission on Aging meeting over there in quite some time because my role now is Calaveras Operations Manager, so I have a different counterpart that actually goes to the Commission on Aging meetings over there. But as I was telling you a little bit ago, such a wealth of knowledge those ladies have over
absolutely.
there, and gentlemen. But it's really interesting to see seniors so active in their community and taking such a part in what's going on in their community.
You're absolutely correct. And I kind of laugh when you say it's mostly the ladies on the commission because it reminds me in South Dakota, the church that one of my aunts goes to, the women are not allowed to do anything. They can't hold any office, they can't be a minister, they can't do anything. But
Wow.
nothing would get done
Yes.
if it weren't for those ladies.
Exactly.
It just kind of makes me chuckle because, I don't know, maybe women age, at least we used to age a little better than the men, so it might be why we're more active in later life with these kind of things. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah, but anyway, we're here to talk about the ambulance service.
We're here to talk about ambulance service today.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about it and how you got started.
Okay, so our company, American Legion Ambulance, was founded in 1929, and it was founded by the American Legion Post. So the veterans coming home from war identified that they needed a means of getting people to and from the doctors and to and from the hospitals. So they founded it, and it was for the members of the Legion Post at first, and then they branched out to serve their community. And so that's a foundation really of our mission that we still hold on to today. Is we really believe strongly in serving our community in the spirit of those early veterans that founded us. We pride ourselves in, we're a nonprofit organization, so we pride ourselves in giving back to the community as well, not just by treating and transporting patients, but also in community donations, if you will, of service. So what people might not know is that we donate our time and our staffing to other nonprofits. We participate in youth sports. So when the high schools have the football games on Friday nights, we send an ambulance and staff those, and that's all free. That's part of our giving back to the community and serving our community. For the Calaveras County Frog Jumps, the fair, we supply a donated ambulance for the events. So for all the rodeo events and for the destruction derby. So again, giving back to our community and to other nonprofits. So we feel really strongly in being connected with community.
That is wonderful, and I really appreciate that you're donating the service to the high school. When I was in high school, one of our players actually died. He had a brain aneurysm,
Wow.
but that's always stuck with me, you know. So it's really important. And shoot, just, I don't know, a couple of months ago, one of the NFL players ended up having a heart attack on the field. So
yes.
Thank God you guys are there.
That put emergency medical services very front and center, especially with at the youth games, you have family members that are coming to watch and participate in the stands, and you just never know when somebody there is going to have a medical emergency that might need something. So it's not just to support the players themselves, because, we hope that our young kids are very strong and healthy that are out there playing sports, but, it's happened to us in the past where we've had calls out to someone in the stands of a basketball game or, a football game. So we're there, again, to support the youth sports, but also to support our community.
I hadn't even thought about that. I hadn't thought about the fact that grandma and grandpa are probably out there watching the game, and you know what? It could get really exciting and things can happen.
Absolutely. You never know when something's going to happen.
Exactly.
So,
You know, it could be just jumping up to cheer and landing wrong on your ankle, you know. So it doesn't necessarily have to be life-threatening,
something
but
horrific. Yeah.
exactly.
It can be just something where, our services are needed.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're here to do, is make sure that, when people need us, we have the services for them.
So you said you started back in 1929. Now, were you here in Calaveras County in 1929, or was it that the organization started in the state at that time?
So the organization started in Amador County.
Oh, okay.
That's where the Legion Post 108 is located at. So primarily they focused on Amador County. And for quite some time we had serviced the West Point area from our Pioneer station.
Sure.
So servicing up into West Point and Wilseyville was something that we've just done for many, many years. But in 2005, there was a bid for the EMS service contract in Calaveras County, and we bid along with some other agencies, and we won the contract. So we've been operating continuously in Calaveras County as a whole, not just the West Point, Wilseyville area, but as a whole since 2005.
Okay. Now, there is a coalition of mountain county communities. When I know we have a contract with you, and then is Amador County part of that coalition, the Calaveras Coalition?
Yes. So it was formerly Mountain Valley Emergency Medical Services Agency. They were headquartered down in Stanislaus County. Stan County has broken away from that coalition and now provides their own oversight. So in California, you have regulatory agencies that are called LEMSAs. It's a local EMS agency, and they determine what parts of the paramedic scope of practice we're allowed to operate under. And so Stanislaus County decided they wanted to, they had a different vision, and so they wanted to pull their county out of the county coalition and do their own thing. So now they've rebranded. They are now Mountain Counties Emergency Services, and they are actually headquartered now out of Copperopolis.
Oh,
and
I'll be darned.
Yeah, and it consists of Mariposa, Calaveras, Amador, and Alpine counties.
Okay. Well, that kind of helps us out because now they're a little closer.
Now they're a little closer. Yeah.
Yeah. So what scope of services do you provide?
So we provide advanced life support, which we call ALS, and that is a paramedic ambulance. So it could be 2 paramedics on an ambulance, it could be a paramedic and an EMT, an emergency medical technician. Emergency medical technician or EMT has a basic life support, a BLS scope of practice. They can do CPR, they can work an automatic defibrillator. They have a limited, what we call a limited expanded scope of practice now. So they can do some airway interventions. They can give medications for allergic reactions. So that's an EMT scope. And then a paramedic or advanced life support scope of practice would be, we can do the advanced airways, put in breathing tubes, use the monitor or the EKG monitor defibrillator to deliver shocks to patients in cardiac arrest. We start the IVs, we give the life-saving medications. So most of our ambulances have a paramedic and an EMT staffed together at an ALS level. So we have 3 24/7 ALS ambulances in Calaveras County. We station 1 in the Valley Springs Burson area, 1 here in San Andreas, and 1 in Angels Camp. And then we staff, when we have staffing levels available, we staff a medic or an Alpha 25. A medic 25 being that there's a paramedic on board. An Alpha 25 signifies to dispatch that there's 2 EMTs on board. So they're a basic life support level
Okay.
ambulance. And they don't respond to 911 calls, but they do a lot of our interfacility transfers that come out of Mark Twain Hospital that don't rise to the level of needing a paramedic to observe or administer medications to the patient going down. So that might be somebody that's discharging to a skilled nursing facility, or somebody going down for another service at a Valley hospital or something, but they're not going to require cardiac monitoring or medications en route. It might be something where the EMT just needs to take their vital signs, watch, maybe an IV that's flowing with just, normal saline in it or something like
Sure.
that. So in Amador County, we staff the same. We staff 3 advanced life support ambulances. But what's interesting over there, and a program that we're trying to bring to Calaveras County in the next year, we've already been sort of green-lighted, we just haven't had a lot of time to work on the program, but we have staffed 911 BLS ambulances over there to augment the advanced life support system. And what that does is it takes those little, grandma had a fall 2 days ago kind of things, and we need an ambulance to come get her and take her up for x-rays or something. Those 911 calls don't always need a paramedic on board.
Sure.
They don't need, cardiac monitoring or, ruling out for strokes and things like that. So we're able now in Amador County to dispatch from a 911 standpoint that BLS level ambulance with the 2 EMTs. And that has greatly alleviated the burden off of our advanced life support ambulances. So we keep those available for the truly life-threatening things. So that's an exciting program, I think, that we're going to be bringing over the next few months to a year here in Calaveras, a 911 BLS dispatch that will not eliminate the level of advanced life support service that we currently have in the county, but it will supplement that and I think make us have a better functioning and a little stronger, robust system.
Okay, so I have a lot of people that are as old as I am, that I know, and older, and I have heard that people call because they've fallen and they can't get up, or a spouse has fallen and the standing spouse just does not have the ability to get them
No.
up anymore.
Yeah.
So I guess that'd be a great place for the basic life, because you
Yes.
don't really,
Well, they also, when we go out on 911 calls, they also do an automatic dispatch for the fire departments.
okay,
And so oftentimes the fire departments will get on scene and assess. And if it is just a lift assist, then they usually handle that and they'll usually cancel the ambulance so that we can stay available for a truly emergent call. If it is just a matter of somebody that needs to be picked up off the floor and put back in bed or something like that. They will also do a basic assessment on that patient, and if it turns out to be more than just a lift assist, then they do, keep the ambulance coming, or if one hasn't been started, they do activate one. But there's kind of a dual level, if you will, to the 911 system, where we work really well with fire in determining what resources are really needed for which particular patients.
sure, that makes sense, because you don't want a advanced life ambulance attending somebody that just needs a little lift up into their
Correct.
chair again while somebody down the road's having a heart attack.
Exactly. Yes, it's all
Yeah.
about, keeping those key resources available for, who knows what, but we want to be there and be ready when somebody does have that significant medical emergency or crisis, because it's the vehicle accidents as well. It's the traumas.
Right.
You never know when someone's going to have an accident. We respond to the people that fall off their ladders at home, or you just never know what's going to happen. Your day can be going really well until it's not.
Exactly.
And we have to make sure we're ready for that.
I think somebody once told me that's why you call it an accident.
Yes.
Did not plan for that to happen.
No.
Yeah, so now the fire department, would they have EMTs as well, some of them?
Yes. Yeah, they have EMTs. In Calaveras County, we have the operating area of the entire county for transports, except for the Ebbets Pass Fire Department.
Okay.
So Ebbets Pass has paramedics and they have EMTs, and their paramedics ride on their ambulance and also on their engines. And then out in Copperopolis, their fire department also has paramedics, but they are not a transporting fire department. So their paramedics will show up on the engine or their rescue truck, and they will assess and stabilize, and then we'll come in and load the patient and then transfer that patient off to the hospital. So those have the advanced life support level services. The other fire departments in the county all have EMTs,
Okay,
or also another level of responder is called an EMR, an emergency medical responder.
Okay.
And so they have a little bit more limited scope of practice, if you will, than an EMT, but they can administer oxygen and do all those life-saving things as well. It's just a little less training and a little less scope of practice.
sure, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, but they're really the first ones on scene that'll assess and stabilize, so they are always at the minimum level of at least an EMR and an EMT level.
Sure. So we have a lot of, well, I guess I can't make that statement. I can say that at least 30% of the Calaveras population is a senior, 65 and older. And in that population, you are more likely to have a stroke than when you're younger. I understand that the first hour after you have a stroke is like critical. And up here, I believe we use a RoboDoc to connect with the stroke doctor in Sacramento so that they can start treatment right away before they transport, and I guess while they're transporting. Is that correct?
We don't do any telemedicine while we're transporting.
Okay.
I know that Mark Twain does utilize telemedicine, and that's a great tool because in areas like this where we have rural, more rural
Sure.
healthcare, we don't have the specialists up here, and sometimes, the patients really need that level of assessment. So it's a good way for the doctors to get eyes on a patient. But what we do in the field, we have different types of screenings for stroke patients, and we will call a stroke alert to the hospital. But we also have the ability in our assessments to determine whether patients are having a particular type of stroke versus another type of stroke. And we can make the determination in the field if that patient needs comprehensive stroke services at a stroke specialty center down in the valley. We can fly that patient or ground transport that patient, depending on what our time to the hospital would be. We try to keep that time under an hour because that
Right.
hour is critical. So things like the onset of symptoms, those are things that we're really trying to nail down, is the timeline
Sure.
of when those stroke symptoms start. And then we can make determinations that maybe this patient is up against a clock for, getting therapeutics on board, or maybe they need, they're exhibiting symptoms of a specific type of stroke. A large vessel occlusion stroke is something that we would identify in the field, and we would fly that patient down to a comprehensive stroke center, like Doctors Hospital in Modesto,
Sure.
where they can actually go in and do interventional treatments that aren't medicine based. They're
Okay.
like, they can go in and they can pull the actual clots out of the brain, much like they do with cardiac stents and things now. So it's really great that we can identify those and save time for the
Oh,
patient
absolutely.
by being able to make those decisions in the field, where we can just fly them directly down to the level of service they need.
That is amazing.
It is amazing. Medicine
Yeah.
is amazing.
It really is, and I had no idea they could get into your brain and remove
Oh,
blood
yeah.
clots. That's
Yeah.
truly
Yeah, instead of going in and, they would give you the clot buster medicine,
Sure.
if you will. And there would be a lot of side effects with bleeding and things like that because it's, the whole body, it's
Right.
systemic. And now they're able to go in and just target with medicine into the clot itself or be able to extricate the clot itself. So stroke interventional medicine is really amazing, and it's coming a long way.
Well, and I have to think that you get a lot less brain damage by getting that clot out faster
Yes.
rather than slower.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can imagine with the whole body, anything that you don't do systemically just can target the actual area.
So much better patient outcomes.
Oh, it
Yeah.
is. It
Yeah.
is. I mean, I use the pain patches for my arthritis because I can put them right on the area that needs them. They actually work better than taking medication a lot of times, and I feel good that I didn't have to actually eat something.
Right.
That
Take
now is going through the
ibuprofen
whole,
that's going through your
exactly.
whole system, and
Yeah.
yeah, and filtering through kidneys and the liver and all those kinds
Exactly.
of things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm one of the people that looks at those side effects on the medicine bottles, and I swear everything lodges in your liver and your kidneys, and I'm just like, geez.
Yep. The body's filtration system.
Yep, that's right.
Yep.
So let's talk about cost a little bit.
Okay.
Now, if you dispatch an ambulance with basic life support as opposed to one that has advanced life support, is there a differential, a cost differential?
Yeah, there's a rate difference for sure. And it just varies depending on what, how far they're transporting you, because there's a base rate, there's a mileage cost. But for the paramedic, you're paying for that paramedic.
Sure.
And it's a pretty expensive operation to run. I don't think people think about it too much. They just, want to call 911 and have the ambulance, and then when the bill comes, they go, oh my gosh, I only went from Valley Springs to San Andreas. Why is my bill so much? And, you're paying for that level of service.
Correct.
It costs, in the ballpark of $950,000 a year just to run one paramedic ambulance. So it's not just a little cheap, service. It's not just, we're not just paying for gas and wages. I mean, there's a lot of insurance we carry. There's a lot of specialty equipment. Our EKG monitors alone cost in the neighborhood of $45,000.
Oh my gosh.
So, the specialty equipment, that all comes with a pretty hefty price tag. Anything in the medical field is, always going to cost you a lot, unfortunately, but the cost of readiness is pretty high, and so, the bills reflect that.
They do.
Yeah.
And you have ongoing training. So it isn't like you go through training once and you're one and done. You've got to keep continuing to refresh your skills, stay updated on your skills, learn to use that fancy equipment.
Correct.
Yeah.
There's always new things coming out that we have to learn. To recertify our licenses, paramedics need 48 hours of continuing education every 2 years, and EMTs need 24 every 2
Okay.
years. So a lot of times we exceed that because of the mandated classes and things that we need, but that's the minimum we need every 2 years, and it's got to be specifically focused in things related to our field, our industry that we do. So there's a lot involved. There's a lot involved that make up those cost factors, and then you get into, different reimbursement rates with different insurances. So Medicare and Medi-Cal are fixed reimbursement rates that are set by the government, so we don't have any control over that. And so that's why a lot of people say, oh, I went to the hospital and I paid $10 for a Band-Aid, that I can get at CVS for pennies on the dollar. But they don't realize that when you have a operating cost, we're not even talking about, going into profit, because again, we are a nonprofit organization. So we try to make the costs of what it costs to run our business. And then a lot of our, other money we reinvest in the company,
Sure.
reinvest in capital purchases, but we also reinvest into those donations and things into the community. But there's just a lot involved, and when your rates are government set, sometimes those don't meet your minimum operating costs, and so then it's the whole healthcare industry in general right now. So everyone's cost shifting to the private sector as usual,
Sure.
to pick up the difference or the residual, if you will, the shortfalls that the government reimbursements aren't meeting. So,
So-
there's a lot.
Just out of curiosity, if somebody has Medicare, not Medi-Cal, just Medicare, and they might have a supplemental insurance, does the Medicare and supplemental insurance generally cover the cost of an ambulance ride, or are you still probably looking at out of pocket?
They may and they may not, and it just depends on what you utilized the ambulance for, and if it was deemed an appropriate use by Medicare and the supplemental. The supplemental usually defaults and does whatever Medicare
Okay.
says. So it's unusual for Medicare to not pay something and then have the secondary pay for something.
Sure, that
They're
makes
usually
sense.
going to say, yeah, Medicare's not doing it, we're not doing it either. So it just depends, and it also depends on, what Medicare you have. Are you A and B? Are you, because A, I believe, doesn't cover ambulance transports. You need the A and B. So
Okay.
it gets into what coverage you have.
Sure,
So
that makes
Medicare
sense.
across the board is a very broad, a broad catch-all for, many, many different plans and programs, and then you get into the supplements, and it's very, very varied. And I don't really know enough
Yeah.
about the billing
No,
aspect
I-
of it.
yeah.
I'm the operational end of it, so if you need to be picked up, I can do that. But when it comes to talking the bills, that's not really my area of expertise. But we do have the ambulance subscription program, and I think that's one of the things that you had invited
Yes.
us to talk about
I
today.
love that program. I'm just so impressed with it.
And so we get questions where, since we are, one of the sole providers in the county, and we are the sole provider in Amador County, we get questions about our ambulance subscription program all the time. And it's a fabulous program. One thing people ask is, if I'm not a member, does that mean you're not going to come pick me up? No, we pick up everybody. We pick up everybody regardless of your insurance status, your ability to pay. We don't care. We're 911. You call us, we're going to come get you. But if you are concerned about, a residual ambulance bill or, the cost factor to being transported, we do have an ambulance subscription program. It's an annual program from the date of purchase. It's $100, and it covers you and any dependents or spouses that you have. So not necessarily multiple adults living in a household. So we get the question a lot, I take care of my elderly mother. Does it cover her as well? No, because she's on her own insurance. She's her own person, even though she's living in that household.
Sure.
So it's a ticket that would cover for $100, you, a spouse, and any dependent children that you have. I tell people too, it's not just for the elderly population. Moms and dads with kids in sports,
Sure.
they get their bell rung playing football on a Friday night, and they have to go by ambulance to get ruled out for concussion. Your ambulance ticket will kick in for those things. So it's a great little added benefit to your insurance plan. If you're not insured, it's also good for $100. It will cut your responsibility for that ambulance bill in half. So, because we are a service, we still want to get paid for
Sure.
the service we provide. We don't exist on any tax revenue.
Okay.
So where the fire departments are tax-based, we are strictly a fee for service. So if we don't get reimbursed for the service that we provide, the service would go away. So it will cut your bill in half if you're uninsured. But if you really are struggling, we also, because we are a nonprofit organization, we also offer hardship plans. We offer payment plans. So if people reach out to us and it's really going to be a financial burden, we understand that, and we're here to work with people and make sure that that accessing care does not bankrupt anybody or put somebody in financial hardship. So we do have different programs in addition to the ambulance subscription program that we offer to work with people. We also have a subscription program to the air ambulances as well.
Okay,
So for $190 a year, you can get the ground and the air combined. And we partner with CalStar, REACH, PHI, AirMed. So pretty much all of the helicopters that service our area, not just one or the other. A lot of people have the air subscriptions, but they're only for one of the helicopter providers.
okay,
And in the event of a vehicle accident, or you have to be, say you have a major cardiac event and you have to be flown out of Mark Twain Hospital because time is of the essence, it's not appropriate to go ground, you need air. There's no guarantee that that helicopter you have the subscription with is going to be the one that actually picks you up because of availability and different things like that.
Sure.
So this ticket covers us for ground and then all of the air providers for $190. And it covers, again, the whole family, and it's good for a year. So it's unlimited uses, just like our ambulance subscription ticket that just encompasses the ground ambulance. And that's for anybody that lives in Calaveras or Amador counties. Those are our exclusive operating areas. So we can only offer it to those. So if you are in Tuolumne County or something like that, you wouldn't be eligible for our program. But
okay, so.
yeah, we like to take care of our community.
And I think that's amazing. I think the fact that you have the payment plans, that you will work with people is wonderful. So anybody that's listening today, don't be afraid to call the ambulance because you're too afraid of the cost.
Yes.
You know, if your life's in danger, you need to call.
Yes, absolutely. And there's different ways that they can get their tickets. So we have a business office here in San Andreas, and our hours are a little flexible because sometimes I'm in and out of the field or
Sure.
in different meetings in my capacity as operations manager. And we have one administrative secretary in the front office, but occasionally she has to go out to our stations and collect their paperwork and take care of some administrative things. So the best thing to do is to call us on our business line.
Okay.
And if someone's in, they can assist you with a purchase over the phone, or they can direct you to our website, which is alpost108.org, and you can buy a ambulance subscription on the website. The only one that you have to do in person is the air and ground combination ticket. You can renew those online, but the initial purchase of that ticket has to be done in person because there's several contract areas that need a physical notation, initials, signature, things like that. So the initial ground and ambulance subscription has to be done in person. If you have difficulty getting into town to come into our office, we can mail you the packet and you can send it back in with your payment or call and get further direction. But we can mail out the packet. So if that's something that people are interested in, they can call our business office. Again, if someone's not there, leave us a message, let us know that you want the air and ground subscription and you want your package mailed out to you.
And what's the phone number for your office?
The phone number is 209-754-3498.
Okay, and I just recently, after like 100 years of saying I need to get that ambulance ticket, I think about a year ago I bought one, and I was really impressed that that air portion actually covers a lot of the United States.
It does. It does. The ground portion just covers what our service area is, but many of these helicopter companies have secondary companies and they're an umbrella company for multiple other providers. And so in their agreement, it does give you some coverage. There's pretty robust coverage throughout California, Oregon, Nevada, other places in the U.S. that it does cover. So it is very interesting. You know, you could be outside of our little service area and still have your air ambulance portion apply and kind of travel with you wherever you're going.
So if I'm over in Tuolumne County and I get in an accident, I'm going to tell them, call the air ambulance because I'm covered for that. As opposed to, because you have to be picked up in Calaveras or Amador for the ground part to be covered, correct?
Correct.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm flying
Yeah.
from Tuolumne. Although I don't think they're going to let me have that choice.
Yeah, I don't think they'll let you have that choice. A lot of the insurance companies are getting wise to the usage of ambulances and air ambulances and what they're actually willing to pay for. So, for instance, we have a lot of patients that like to be transported to physicians outside of this county. So they may have a doctor in Sonora, they may have a doctor down at Lodi Memorial or Sutter Amador Hospital. You know, people want to be transported where their primary care physician usually is based out of.
Sure.
And so we really don't have a problem doing that for the most part, but in years past, that was never really a problem with insurances. But insurances are, you know, they're an insurance company. They're always looking for a way to not have to pay something. So now they're starting to question us as to why the patient didn't go to the closest facility.
Sure.
And so we've had some patients call recently who got balance billed because their insurance company refused the additional mileage. You know, they would say it's reasonable to pay the 20 miles that it would have been to the closest hospital, but you chose to go 40 miles, so now you're on the hook for the 20 additional miles. So insurance companies are starting to get wise to that, and about the appropriateness of the level of resource that we're utilizing.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't want somebody calling 911 because, I don't know, they need a trip to the grocery store.
An
You want them to
Uber,
call
yeah.
an Uber, right?
Exactly.
Exactly. I mean, I'm being a little
We're very
exaggerating
expensive
in
Uber.
that, but yeah. And I think sometimes they want a ride. People want a ride in the ambulance because they don't have family close by and they don't want to impose on their friends. So then they think,
Right.
okay, I'll just have the ambulance come and get me. And in
Right.
fact, it would have been a lot better if they just called an
we've-
Uber or.
Yeah, and we've actually seen more in the last few years, Medicare denying those as well, where they say, you know, you could have went in a vehicle.
Sure.
And Medicare and health insurance, they don't really, not to sound bad or anything, but they don't really care what your situation is.
No,
they don't care if you don't have a neighbor to call. They don't care if, you know, you don't have family that lives close by. They just say, can you sit in a car? Then you should have went by a car.
Exactly.
You know, if there's things in the transport that we're not doing that are, you know, that they deem are necessary for the patient, you know, monitoring vital signs with cardiac symptom
Sure.
complaints or something, you know, they're starting to get cracked down. So, you know, you call us, we come and we're going to take you because that's what we do and that's what you call us for. But insurance companies are starting to get pretty nitpicky about what the appropriate usage is. You know, and it's the same. We can take patients to outpatient doctor's appointments and radiology appointments, and we've taken patients down for cancer treatments and stuff. But people should realize also that those are probably not going to be covered under your ambulance ticket subscription because it's not deemed an emergency.
Okay.
And the other thing is, I mean, we will still do those,
Right.
but it's going to be a private pay thing. Medicare has a clause on the forms that we fill out for those types of transports that says the patient could have gone by other means, you know, a ambulance wasn't the necessary mode of transportation. And that even counts for people that have mobility issues that can't necessarily get in and out of vehicles very well. So sometimes we'll suggest having someone, you know, call for a lift assist or something like that to help get someone in and out of a vehicle. Because it's going to save you a lot of money by not utilizing the ambulance if we can find ways to get those people to and from doctor's appointments. I think, I've referred to people to the Silver Streak program,
Sure.
different things. But we will do those for the people that meet the medical necessity, someone that's bedbound from a stroke or, something like that. We will do privately arranged transports. They can call our business office and request us, in advance. We don't come out for those day of, but in advance, if you know that, grandma has a doctor's appointment and she's bedbound because she has a stroke and there's just absolutely no other way to get her and she's got to lie flat and, or, a recent hip fracture or something like that, going in for a follow-up, we can privately arrange those and work out some kind of a payment arrangement for those. So
Okay.
we can do that as well.
Yeah, I actually had a conversation with my eye doctor a few months ago about the fact that my eyelids sag, and it used to be that Medicare would have taken care of them like right now, but now I think I have to wait till I can't see anymore.
Yeah, because it's, it can affect your vision.
Right.
And so it used to be something that they would cover, but now it's getting, they're
Yeah.
cracking down on things.
I'll have to
So-
look like Willie Nelson before they'll let me get them done.
Yeah, put tape.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I
that's-
did want to emphasize, because it took me years to figure this out, that the ambulance ticket is not just good for one use per year. You can use it multiple times per year.
Correct.
And the other thing was the family, the spouse and dependents. I didn't realize that for quite a few years. And I've been, like I said, going to Commission on Aging since I think 2016 I might have started. And I've heard about the ambulance ticket, from multiple places, multiple times, but I swear it took me until a couple of years ago to realize what a great benefit it was, because it wasn't just a one-use thing, and it was, if I had a family living with me, it would cover my whole family, and
Right.
that is amazing.
It is amazing for $100. It's like a little extra insurance policy. And, the reasoning behind the unlimited amount for a year is because some people with chronic medical conditions, they may call us on a monthly basis, or even, if they have a flare-up in their medical condition, it's not uncommon for us to go out to people multiple times in a week while they're trying to get stabilized on a new medication or get into another specialist. So we wanted it to be like, if you had to call the ambulance multiple times for your care, that you had a peace of mind that your ambulance bill is being taken care of, or that you're not going to get passed on exorbitant medical costs that's going to put you into bankruptcy or break you. So it is really great to have those unlimited trips for a year.
Well, and you might have 4 kids, and one of them goes down every week. You never know.
You never know. I mean, kids, a broken arm, an
Yeah.
allergic reaction,
Yeah, you never
kids
know.
are always into something, so
Absolutely.
you just never know. And so, you might use it on one kid this week, and you might use it on, another kid next month, and so you're not just limited to a one-time use for that ticket.
Absolutely.
It's good for the year.
I do remember when I was in high school, I was backing out of the driveway, and some kid zipped his bike like right up beside me, and then I ended up hitting one of our other cars that was parked in the driveway, and the insurance guy was a little unhappy about the fact that we were claiming. Fortunately, that was like 100 years ago when they weren't quite as sticky as they are today. So, but I do remember they were questioning why 2 of our cars were involved in the same
In
accident.
the same vehicle accident.
Yes.
Oh, because we have a teenager, that's why.
Exactly. It should be self-evident.
Yeah. So that's why I tell people, I think people think of the ambulance ticket subscription as, I don't need that. I'm healthy and I'm in my 30s, or, we don't need that. We're a young family and we have little kids, but you don't know. You don't
No.
know, and it's going to be, God forbid, it's the vehicle accident, or it's, the kid that falls out of the tree and, like I said, breaks their arm, or,
Yep.
the sports injury. You just really don't know what, I
Yep.
think that's one thing about doing this job for 25 years is you just never know what kind of day you're going to have. It's not always just about the medical illnesses or being elderly or, mobility challenged. It's, you just never know.
That is true.
You
That is
never
true.
know.
You could be rescuing a
Yeah.
dog out of a well or something. Well, probably not a dog for the ambulance, but a kid out of a well or something. You just never
Yeah,
know.
you just, I mean, you could be young and healthy and need that ambulance one day, so.
Absolutely. All right, so is there anything that we haven't discussed that you think we should touch on?
I don't think so. I think we've, go out and buy your ambulance tickets. They're great.
Okay,
They're a
and
great thing.
where is your office located in San Andreas?
So we are on the corner of Highway 49 and Russell's Road. We have signage there. We're right across from the post office. But like I said, we do have some hit and miss hours
Sure.
because there's only 2 of us in the office and we have collateral duties that we have to take care of. So call, and if we know you're coming in, we'll make sure that one of us is there. We'll sell you your ticket. And again, the website is www.alpost108.org, alpost108.org. You can buy your ground ticket there. Call us. We'll mail you an air packet out if you're interested in that, or just give us a call if you have any further questions. We'd be happy to chat with you on the phone.
Okay, and what's that phone number again?
209-754-3498.
Perfect. Well, thanks for coming and talking to me,
Thank
Nicole. Nicole. I was thinking, I don't know why I started to say Noelle, and then I realized it's Nicole,
That's
but
okay.
we are talking to Nicole. See, I can't do it now. Nicole today, thank you. And
You're welcome.
all you listeners out there, thank you for listening today, and be sure and catch us the next time on anywhere that you listen to your podcast.